you guys, it's me Himaru or Himena. I'm back at it again, here with some more anime tropes I find annoying. You thought I was done? Nope, I'm just getting started. I promise I'm not a hater. And just a disclaimer before I start, but these are just my opinions, so if you don't agree, that's totally okay. Everyone has their own thoughts and opinions, so don't come for me if we don't agree on some of these, okay? This is just for fun anyways. So, now that I got that out of the way, let's get started. Trope number 1, overuse of flashbacks. I think it's pretty obvious why this one has to go. I mean, there's no scenario in which a flashback should be shown more than at least 3 times. And I'm not talking about a character's backstory, because of course we need to see that in order to better understand the character. What I'm talking about is when the same flashback gets shown over and over again. Or just any unnecessary flashback. Like, we get it, the protagonist went through a lot, we feel bad, but we don't need to be constantly reminded. I mean, did you guys know that the swing from Naruto apparently had more screen time than Tenten? Huh? I know she wasn't a major character, but she was literally a member of Team Guy. So I'd say she was a pretty important side character. Again, I'm not sure how true this is, but even so, it's crazy that the swing scene has been shown so many times that people are comparing its screen time to an actual character's screen time. Number 2, perverted characters. These characters are typically used as comic relief and overall just supposed to be funny, but it really isn't. This trope has been used way too many times in shows like Naruto, My Hero Academia, 7 Deadly Sins, the list could keep going. I don't find it amusing, it's weird and very unnecessary. Most of these characters already have some great traits. The only thing bringing them down is the fact that they're pervs. And in some cases, being a perv is the character's whole personality. For example, Mineta from My Hero Academia. I believe his only role was to remind the audience that the girls from UA have nice bodies. Because other than him drooling over them, he didn't have much to his character. And I'll admit, Mineta has some pretty funny moments that involve him not being a perv, so it's a shame that that's his main trait. For a show that's about becoming heroes, he only talks about being a hero 10% of the time, and the other 90% is him eyeing his female classmates. Oh, except for Jiro. Why, you may ask? Because she doesn't have as big of a chest as her female classmates. Which takes me to the third trope, when having a small chest is seen as unattractive. Like I mentioned, Jiro seems to be the only one out of the girls that Mineta didn't say anything about. And what do you know, she's the only one with a smaller bust. I noticed that when I watch an anime with this trope, that usually the girl tends to lack confidence, compare her chest to other bustier characters, or the fact that she has a flat chest is seen as a way for others to pick on her. And this isn't me saying that bustier characters should receive similar treatment. All girls are beautiful whether they have a big chest or not. It's just that I personally think that because a character has a flat chest, it doesn't mean that she's less pretty than other girls. So I don't think that these animes should be showing this idea that if you don't have a big bust, you're automatically seen as not attractive. Because that's not true. Number 4, Amnesia. When the character all of a sudden forgets everything about their friends or love interest. I'm not a fan of this trope. And I especially don't like it when it feels like it's only being used to slow down the plot. I understand it can be written well and maybe even show us some character development, but this is just not for me. In most cases, for example romance animes, the protagonist has a bumpy start with whoever they've forgotten. Maybe they went from enemies to lovers. And now you're telling me that this was all for nothing? Now we have to see the love interest try and help the protagonist remember the relationship, but because the protagonist only remembers that she hated him, she doesn't even want to try, and now we have to see the chase all over again. And of course I know that they'll eventually remember, but even so, now I have to go through that all over again. And in my opinion, one time is enough for me. And like I mentioned before, I get that this could create some character development moments, but I don't know, I guess it's just not for me. Because instead of focusing on the character development, I just start feeling bad for the love interest. Maybe this is why I can't handle slow burn. Number 5, when anime studios take free liberty. What I mean by this is when anime studios diverge from the original source, that being the manga series, and decide to take matters into their own hands. I'm not even sure if this counts as an anime trope, but oh well. The biggest example I can think of in recent years would be The Promised Neverland. If you've watched it, I think you know where this is going. The first season was amazing, and because of its unique concept, so many people were hooked on it just by watching the first episode. Shortly after the first season ended, they announced that they would be coming out with the second season. And while so many people were excited for its release, it sadly did not live up to people's expectations. The second season skipped crucial characters, world building, and was overall condensed heavily and very rushed. I ended up not finishing the anime once I saw how many changes were being made. But from what I heard, the final episodes were basically PowerPoint slides, which is definitely not what the series deserved. I've also heard that the second season of Tokyo Ghoul went through something similar. But since I've unfortunately not watched Tokyo Ghoul yet, I can't say with certainty how true this is. But apparently the second season is not considered canon for many fans since there are major events that happen in the anime that were never made in the manga. Overall, I think it's safe to say that these drastic changes should never be made, especially if it strays away from the original source. It's disappointing to many fans and it's not what these series deserve. Number 6. Self-insert protagonist. When I think of a self-insert protagonist, I think of two things. When the MC is your generic black-haired guy with no unique traits, or when the author actually inserts themselves in the manga. I understand having the protagonist be bland and have normal or everyday features is made so that the viewer can insert themselves into the character and relate to them. But I mean, in my opinion, I don't think that the character has to have normal everyday features. And even if they do, at least don't make them have no personality whatsoever. This just creates a running gag on how all the protagonists look the same and even have similar personalities. I mean, I still find relatable traits in characters that look nothing like me at all. And I think that's what's fun about designing characters. You can quite literally do anything. I'm not saying they can't have an ordinary design or a personality. Please, by all means, if anyone out there has an OC like this, feel free to do what you want. To me, the annoying thing is when they are just plain, and again, it's especially more annoying if this character is supposed to be the protagonist. I feel like if there's not much to the character, it makes them forgettable. I think a good example of a generic protagonist would be Mob from Mob Psycho 100. It could be because it's more of a comedy, but I think Mob is portrayed perfectly. He's an awkward teenager who's going through typical adolescent struggles. But instead of using his powers to get rid of the problem, he prioritizes self-growth without the use of his psychic abilities. Rather than thinking that his powers are something special, he tries to solve the problem just like any other person would. The thing that makes him stand out is that compared to other protagonists whose goal is to grow stronger, we see Mob go through an emotional growth with his power representing his emotions. Despite him being overpowered, he has flaws and goals that make us want to root for him and even relate to. I love Mob so much, I need to rewatch the series. Number 7. The ages aren't adding up. I think this is a pretty popular trope to dislike, and I know I'm not the first to talk about this, so I won't yap for too long. Also, I won't be talking about exaggerated ages that are around the 1000s. Instead, I'll be bringing up realistic examples. Since I feel like most people bring up characters who look like they are in their early teens reveal that they're actually decades old, I'll be talking about the opposite. Adult characters who are actually older than what they look. For example, Tsunade from Naruto and Granny Seiko from Dandadan. Both look like they could be around their mid or early 20s, but in reality they are much older. Somewhere around 50 or 60, and in Tsunade's case, maybe older? I'm not sure. I'm not saying looking young is a bad thing. I can see why the creators decided not to make these characters look their age, especially since they are known to be badasses. And they're most likely shown this way for the fan service. However, why can't we have badass grandmas? I don't think we should be afraid to show grannies kicking butt. There are plenty of young characters in these shows, so it's time for older characters to show off without having to look young. I know Tsunade uses a special jutsu to maintain her young image, but I wish we could have seen her without it. 20 creator out there, don't be afraid to create a badass granny. I'm all for it. Number 8. When characters look down on the MC. What I mean with this is when new characters are introduced and know nothing about the protagonist. Therefore, they think that the protagonist has had it easy or that they don't really understand what they've been through. But in reality, the protagonist has probably been through worse. It's so annoying to see these side characters make assumptions about the protagonist without knowing their backstory. Like, seriously.
Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up! Shut up! What are you doing? What the fuck are you doing?
However, one good thing I'll say about this trope is that when this scenario happens, this usually creates a moment for the protagonist to show off and prove that he's worked hard to get to where he is. And I absolutely love to see that. That's all I could think of for now, but I'm sure if I think hard enough, I'll think of more. Again, I'm not a hater, I swear. I'm actually creating a list of anime tropes I love, so hopefully I can make that video soon. And once again, just so people don't come for me, these are just my opinions, so feel free to agree or disagree, just don't be mean. I really enjoyed writing the script for this video. Honestly, any chance I get to yap about my thoughts and opinions is so much fun. Also, on another note, I'm currently revamping my OC story, so keep an eye out for that. I think that's enough of me yapping, so other than that, until next time.